Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our daily word. This is Tuesday of this second full week of the month of October. Glad you could join me for our time together. It was a beautiful morning this morning, nice fall day. So glad you could join me as we continue this conversation through our daily word and what it means for us and how it helps us to live, which is what I hope, of course. And so this morning, I've chosen this familiar psalm for us, and it resonates. It resonated with me, and hopefully it resonates with you as we talked about what it means for us. And this psalm is to us as we live our lives. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time on and forever. So initially, for me, and maybe for you, the very first verse resonates. I lift my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? Those are words, it seems to me, of a desperate person at the end of the rope. Have you felt that way? Does that feel like where we might have been in life? You know, sometimes it's not so much the end of the rope that I think about. I sometimes think about that I've played the string out, that I've done all I can do, and I'm not sure what my next steps are. One of the reasons I'm reading a new book I'm reading and getting some insight about it, how to lead when you don't know where you're going, is that insight, that reminder that, you know, oftentimes in our lives, we are in those desperate moments of our lives when we look up and say, where am I going to get any help? How is this ever going to get better? What's the resolution to the desperate nature of my crying out? And how do we live in this, as the author, and I talked about it Sunday, the author of this book says, this liminal time where we're unsure. We haven't, we're not ready to start a new thing. We're kind of in this waiting ground. And if you're like me, as we probably all are, we like to rush forward, right, to the very next thing. And we're reminded, I think, in this text, in this Psalm 121, in our desperate nature of the way we live our lives, and in our crying out at the end of our rope, where will I get any help? The psalmist then turns the corner for us. And the rest of the verses that follow are 7 verses of deep assurance in God as the source of our help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is the shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time on and forever. You see, for us, for me, particularly as I think about this, you know, people ask me about, I must be bionic with all the metal in my body. You know, this right knee 9 years ago, piece of cake. You know, I went through therapy. I was also much younger, did well. When I had the second knee done, I thought, no big deal. No, if you watch me at all, you all know that hasn't gone this way. Just endured my third surgery on this knee, 2 surgeries on my hip. It's ridiculous. And oftentimes, when I think about where I'm at and when I allow myself get caught up in the desperation of this and not being able to plan, and I can't fix anything, I can't change anything, I just have to go through the process of this. I wonder sometimes, I do this first verse crying out, when am I going to get any help? When am I going to catch a break? When are things going to get better? My insurance has screwed up my therapy, and they called me yesterday and said, well, because insurance hasn't paid your previous bills that are well over $3,000, until you pay that, you can't come to therapy anymore. Okay. So last night I was so angry about that. Can't go to therapy today until I get this stupid thing figured out. That's not my fault. That's not therapy's fault. It's insurance's fault. And we've been working trying to get it resolved. Now, therapy won't let me come because I get it. I owe them over $3,000. Where does my help come? What am I going to do without therapy until I get this figured out? And we have all these situations in our life, right? It's not just about health. It's about all kinds of things. It's about living, I think, in these liminal moments where we're unsure what the next thing is. Then the 7 verses remind us then. And last night when I was so angry, and this morning when I'm still angry and was in tears because I couldn't go to therapy, that my life, your life, our lives are fully in God's hands. Our job, my job, your job, the psalmist would say to us, is to trust. Now, I know that that's not easy. I know that it's hard, just to trust in God, to know that we're going to work this out because my life's in God's hands and my help comes from the Lord. And I get all of that, but I think the thing that sustains me in this, even in the midst of my anger about this whole therapy insurance thing, is really in the last verse, at least for me. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time on and forevermore. I think about that, and I thought about that early this morning when I left. I couldn't go to therapy, so I went to Frisch's. Sat in my corner booth where I always sat, drank coffee that I was hoping would be magic. It's not been magic. But I left early, drove there, got in my car, came to church. Tonight is senior night for soccer, so I'll be at Fairlawn later today to do senior night. Tomorrow morning, they asked me to come to Fairlawn. They have their Powder Puff football game, and I'm going to go announce the Powder Puff football game. That'll be fun. First thing tomorrow morning is our first gathering of confirmation class. Looking so forward to beginning that journey with the people in my class. We're going to pray together. We're going to share a meal together. We're going to talk about what it means to be in covenant together. And then we'll pray together to end our time together tomorrow night. I think about all those things, and then I'm reminded, in all of that, and in all of my frustration and being at the end of my rope, as we all get sometimes, I hold on to these words mostly from this text. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time on and forevermore. And for me, I need to hear that the most, that in all of my coming and going, things I can do, things I can't do, places I need to be, things I get asked to do, the Lord will keep your going out and your coming in. And that's good news, and that's hope, and that's what I need to hear in my life today. And hopefully it's a good word for you today as you live your lives. And as we go through this journey, where sometimes we're desperate at the end of our rope, sometimes, we think we've played the string out, sometimes, we live in this time where we're just unsure. It's God who guards our going out and our coming in from this time on and forever. And that's the good news. And that's good news for us as we live our lives. So I hope that's a good word for you today as we journey together through life. Know of God's love and my love. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.